Is everyone seeing the where we left off on the PowerPoint? Great. Okay. Okay, so we're back in here. Again, I just wanted to reiterate these important part about the enrollment confirmations. And that is, we talked about the tuition. The tuition is before discounts. It should be all mandatory fees. There may be grade bands. Grade band is higher. That's what you're going to put in there. Also, you're going to indicate the total amount of non-boost financial aid. That's where those discounts come in. Any other non-boost financial aid. Do not calculate, subtract boost from this. This is only non-boost financial aid. And I wanted to also just highlight the questions in regard to special ed. It's number 12 here. If you say yes, it defines what a special ed student is. And then you will have to determine what type of plan that is based on the services that you're providing to that student. Individual education, 504, whatever that selection is, you make a choice of that. And then there's also you have to upload the actual plan to this, okay? So if we don't have number 12, 13, and 14, the student will not receive an award. And to navigate out of here, you would just go ahead and click listings, and that will take you back to the original. And then I'm going to go log out. As I said before, you are going to receive a link with a more detailed video, about 5 minutes long, that explains those fields. The other important reporting that you will do, it is assessments. Schools that are participating in the BOOST program must report the results of national norm reference standardized assessments from a list of approved vendors and approved tests. We will provide you with that list. If you're interested in that, when you go into the system, it will drop down and provide you the various where you can choose the list, the assessment that you actually administered. These are the subject areas: English language arts, math, and science, and the grades that must be administered. So for grades 3 through 8, they have to be administered every year to all students, not just BOOST students, to all of your students that are in the grades 3 through 8. It's a little different from high school. High school must be administered once to students in grades 9 through 12. And this can be confusing. If you have some questions about it, please contact our staff. We'll go over it and explain it. Again, for mathematics, must be administered each year for all students grades 3 to 8. And again, must be administered once for students grades 9 through 12. Science is another subject area, must be administered each year. So let's see if we can go into the portal. It's a different portal. I don't know if this is going to open up for us or not. Nope, I need to put in a correct. Thank you for your patience. Okay, when you first log in, this is the page that you'll come to, and it should be blue, and it should say reports. Go ahead and click reports. So these are the 3 reports that are in this particular system. Enrollment confirmation is not included in this portal. Here also, we'll talk about this maybe a little later, is your profile that you can go ahead and view. If there is information there that is incorrect, let us know. We'll allow you to correct it, or we will correct that information for you. So we were talking about when it, right now, it says there are 15 days remaining to submit this. The submit button is gray because these 3 reports have not been completed. And when you go in, it will say action required, action required. We are going to look at the assessment report. You go in, not much there. But what you do is you please click add item, new item. Okay. Which grade are you assessing? I'm going to say the 3rd grade. So you will do this for every grade, okay? And it's asking you what is the assessment, the name of the assessment. This is the list of the approved assessments. I'm going to go ahead and just select one. Proficient criteria met. Now, this can be various things. For some schools, their proficiency criteria may be average. For others, it may be a certain percentile. For others, it may be something else. Whatever your school's criteria is, you will type that in there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and average. Okay. Okay. First question. Number of boost students assessed. So how many boost students do you have in the 3rd grade? I'm going to say 10. Now, of those 10, the number of boost students that met the proficiency criteria, I'm going to say 9. Okay. Now it's asking the number of non-boost students assessed. So in your 3rd grade, of the students that are not boost, how many were there? So I'm going to say 10 again. So that means that there were basically 20 students in your 3rd grade. And then what was the number of those students that met that proficiency? Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and say 5. So what you've done is that you have reported on for the 3rd grade the math results. You will also, for the 3rd grade, report the science. You will also provide the English. Okay. Now, again, choices that you have, you could delete it. You could save draft. And in that case, what you've entered in will remain, and you can come back and finish it. You can complete, mark complete, and then you want to close. So what we're going to do is we're going to save draft for the sake of time. We're going to go ahead and close that. And then this takes us back to the original assessment report page. And you can come back at another time, or you can say, you know what, I'm going to do all of my grades right now. And so again, you would new item. So for every grade, you click new item, you identify what that grade is, and then you provide the information in regard that is being asked. Okay. Okay. So let's get back to the PowerPoint. Now that we've looked at the assessment report, now we're going to talk about the teacher certification report. Now, non-public schools are not required to have certified teachers. Okay. But we are required for the Boost program to collect this information. The due date for this is the 14th. That is also the due date for the assessments. So this says a certified teacher, an individual who holds a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution of higher education and holds a valid standard professional certificate, advanced professional certificate, resident teacher certificate, or a conditional certificate. In the past, we've been asked, can it be an out-of-state certified teacher? It must be, for the purposes of this reporting, the certified teacher must be Maryland certified. And these are the core areas that we are collecting that information for. So let's go in and see, back in reports. This time we're going to look at teacher certification. Okay. Okay, it says, please enter the name of the school official that is completing the report. Enter the title. Enter the email address. Okay. Please enter the total number of teachers as well as the numbers of certified and non-certified teachers in each core subject area, early childhood education or elementary education as applicable. The number of certified and non-certified teachers in each area should be the sum total of the teachers reported. Okay, so we tried to do a check here. So we're going to say that the total number of teachers that are in our category of early childhood is 5. And it's asking the number of certified early education teachers. We're going to say 2. And then here we're going to say the number of non-certified. I'm going to say 5 and see what happens. Okay. This should be a check, and it's saying that there's 7, and we said that there's 5. Something's not right. So in order for it to total 5, I have to make sure that my answer is correct. And so that would be 3. And now my total check is matching what I entered here as the total number of teachers. We realize that you guys are entering a lot of data and it's easy to hit the wrong key. We try to provide some kind of checking to help that process. Elementary education, again, how many elementary ed teachers there are? I'm going to say 4. And number of certified, I'm going to say 1. Number of non-certified, I'm going to say 3. Okay. And you do that for each subject area. If the answer is 0, that you have none, then you enter none. I'm not quite sure if you have to put in a 0 for when there's the other fields also, but you may want to do that. Go ahead, even though you have no sort of, it doesn't apply, go ahead and click 0. Go ahead and click 0. And you continue on like that. That's the end of that one. Okay, and when you close it, it takes you back here. If we had completed it, it would have said complete right here, and it would have changed to, I believe, edit view rather than open. Let's go back to PowerPoint presentation. Withdrawal and expulsion reporting. So we're asking what BOOST students withdrew from your school or were expelled from your school last year. Obviously, if you were not participating in the BOOST program, you still need to fill it out, but your answers will be zip, right? So withdrawal and expulsion is due October 14th. Let's go back in the portal and take a look at the withdrawal expulsion reporting. So into our reports. And there it is. That was the first one. So let's go ahead and open it. Okay, again, we need to add a new item. That starts us in the process. And then it explains, gives you some information. I'm sorry about that. I need to go in and correct that. That has the wrong date. I apologize. That did not get updated. So the first question, did your school have any BOOST students who withdrew or expelled? For the sake of this, I'm going to say yes, so that we can see what the questions are. So it's asked you for the student's name. Was the student expelled in the 21-22 year? Did the student withdraw in the 21-22? So you have a choice. One of these you're going to say no. One of these you're going to say yes. I'm going to say no, yes, the student was expelled. So the question is, if yes, please select the reasons for the action. Go ahead. The best reason for this, for the reason for the student was expelled. How many school days was the student enrolled before the expulsion? You calculate how many days the student before, from the beginning of the school year until the last date of the student in attendance. Okay. And now it's also asking, which is redundant because you can't expel at the same time. It says, did the student withdraw? We already answered expelled. We would probably be done, but we would need to say no, because that student was expelled, did not withdraw. I think I answered everything. I'm going to go ahead and mark complete. Okay. So it will show the student's name, so you know that you've entered it. And let's say I have another student that I want to add. So every student that you have that fell into this category, you're only, and I'm going to say yes, reporting the students that were withdrew or were expelled. Again, we're going to select a student name. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Okay. Move too quickly. Okay. I'm going to say yes. And I'm just going to, and was this school student? I'm going to say no. Student wasn't expelled. That this student withdrew last year? And I'm going to say yes. And now we have some different questions. If the student withdrew, please select the reasons given for the student withdrawal. And there are several reasons here. It could have been the cost of private school, could have been a transportation. Student is at a non-boost private school. Household moved. The student's health related. In some cases, you may not know, but please do the best that you can in answering these. And the last question here is how many, let me select one of these. How many school days was the student enrolled before the student withdrew? Again, you enter a number and we can mark complete. And now that student has been added. So for every student that you have, you would click a new item and provide the information. When you finish, you would click close, and then close will take you back to the main reporting page here. You see where it says complete and edit? That one is done. When you have completed each one of these, and each says complete, then this submit button will highlight, and then you will be able to submit your report, and that all three of these reports, the due date is October 14th. Okay. Okay, amended assurances. So as part of the registration process for the Boost program, an authorized school official agreed to the program assurances that include discrimination prohibition. There was a new state law in the Maryland Education Code, and that law became effective July 1st. And it requires Boost participating school officials to agree to amended assurances. And what those amended assurances are is the same assurances that you had before, the same discrimination, but it is expanded. And what it requires that, it requires that, it, re- it requires that schools add in their handbook specific language that is stated. So what we're going to do is that we are going to send to the schools via email to the school officials the amended assurance document. Read it, please sign it, date it, don't make any changes to it, email it back to us. Again, it's the amended assurances, and they must be completed in order for your school to participate in the program. So this is the timeline. October 11th is when the enrollment confirmation is due. And again, this report is very important because it is the basis of which we are able to actually create the checks, but based on that information. So it's critical. The other reports, assessment, teacher certification, and withdrawal, they're due a couple of days later. Okay. Now, on October 23rd, the program will request that the checks be printed by the comptroller's office. That is our target date. If we have any delay in enrollment confirmation, we are not going to be able to do that. And what we really want to do is at least send out the scholarship awards on October 30th. The other item that I felt was important for you guys to know, when you receive those checks, inside the checks, we provide you with a list of all of the checks and the students. And there is a check receipt memo form. That form has to be completed and emailed back to Boost within 5 days. And so what we're asking is that you basically take that list, check off every student's check that you've received, making sure that you received the check, okay? Now, there may be other discrepancies, okay? And so that check receipt memo form is where you provide us with, hey, wait a minute, I did an enrollment confirmation for student Y, but there's no check for student Y, okay? Or in some cases, you may see something in regard to the amount of the check. Well, wait a minute, this student is a special education student. I provided you with the information to validate that, but yet this student's award is not including the special ed award. So that's why those check receipt memos are so important, because you're making sure that you let us know that you've gotten all your checks, and that you've also, if there's any discrepancy, that you communicate that to us as soon as possible. Okay, well, thank you everyone for your attention. I'm going to go ahead and close out this, and I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to stop presenting. And I'm going to ask, are there any questions? Bob was monitoring the chat. Bob, did you have any questions? Were there any questions provided in the chat?
Yeah, hang on for a second.
I see something, I think I saw something from, let's see here.
So as Bob searches for unanswered questions, I just wanted to go over a couple questions that were answered so that they're captured in the recording. Because when this is posted, all the rich chat feature isn't recorded in the video.
Okay.
People are asking if they'll be receiving the PowerPoint via email. We're going to post a recording, a recording of this meeting on our Boost website. It will be there for you to listen to whenever you want to go back and hear some of the other information. Hear again the information that Valerie shared. Andrea asked, when is the report for assessments due? I think that was answered October 14th. Enrollment is due October 11th. Rabbi Avram asked, do book fees, supply fees, activity fees, etc., need to be included in the tuition rate? And it looks like Jim responded and said, fees, if they are required for all students, then they are in essence a tuition cost. A bus fee, for example, is not required for all students. Email Boost if you're not sure of specifics. I think, Bob, do you have any to share? You're muted.
I see a question here from Adina Reish. What is the difference between reading language arts and English? So that question is in reference to the assessment. And we should have someone from Maryland State Department of Education that is more of an expert on assessments joining us. Is Osh with us, or Tracy Dusenblom?
Osh is here, but Osh is not an expert at the assessments, only the data.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like the Boost program is going to have to get some clarity to that question from MSDE staff, because I don't know the answer to that. Okay, I see another question. Lisa.
Sharon. Oh, go ahead, Valerie.
Oh, go ahead. Someone, go ahead.
I'm going down from at the top. Delia asked, has the frequency of the science assessment changed? I don't believe it was required each year in grades 6 through 8 in prior years. Is that?
There has not been a change. I want to make sure that that was communicated. Okay, so I'm looking here. This is what it says. Science, at least once for students in grades for grades 3 through 5, at least once for students grades 6 through 9, and at least once for students grades 10 through 12. So you are correct. Science is not required every year. And we'll provide you with another document that will provide you with some more clarity on that topic, on that subject.
Bob, can you share some more questions that you've captured, please?
Yes. Joan Francis wants to know, is the teacher certification report due required by non-public schools?
Yes. So the non-public schools are not required to have certified teachers. They're not, okay? But there is a regulation in the Boost program to capture information about certified teachers and non-certified teachers for Boost participating schools, okay? So no problem at all in regard to no requirement to have certified teachers. All we're doing is capturing the information. We're required to do that on whether or not how many non-certified teachers and how many certified. Completely understand if the answer for that subject area is 0. We're just capturing the information. Schools are not required, non-public schools are not required to have certified teachers. Bob,
Can you share the next question?
This is from Lisa Slayton. Should 6th to 8th grade teachers who are certified in their field of teaching be counted both under the elementary teachers or just under the contact area numbers?
I see, I see. They shouldn't be counted twice. So if, you know, whichever grade you feel comfortable putting them in, but it does make sense that if your website or your handbook actually says that the certified teacher is a certified teacher for the sixth grade, then count them in sixth grade, but don't also count them for other grades that they may teach in. Just count them once, please.
This is from Adina Reish. What is the difference between reading, language arts, and English?
We answered that question.
Sorry.
Okay. I did have an interesting question. Is so if not every year, it says, if you had no boost applicants last year, do you still need to submit reports? And I think this is in relationship to so there are two reports that you're reporting on the prior year, and that is the assessments that you administered last year, and it's also the assessments that you administered last year and the withdrawal and expulsion. Again, so what this school is asking is, last year, I didn't participate in boost, or I didn't have any boost students. So how am I going to report that? In order for this system to function, we are going to ask you to go in and go into that report, and your answer is going to be 0 or no or whatever, you know, and so that you get credit for addressing that report and you don't stand out, because part of the system is helping us keep track as to who is completing these reports or not. No, what we're asking you to do is to respond to the report, make an attempt. It should, in some cases, give you an option to say no, you didn't have any students or whatever. But yes, don't avoid it or pass it by. Go in and you don't have any information to provide us, but you will acknowledge that in your response. I see a question from Brian. Brian wanted to know, just as I started reading it, it moved. Let me see if I can find it again. Oh, Brian. Okay.
I'm sorry. That's my fault because I was responding to someone. Sorry, Valerie.
Oh, okay. Brian asked, can you reconsider the 1014 deadline? It is very quick. I understand the urgency with the enrollment report due 1011 to get checks out, but an additional week would help with the other reports due. So I think what you're saying is the 1011 is not what you're asking for. It is the 1014, which are the other 3 reports. Well, let me confer with program management. And again, the consideration would be if there could be reconsider the date for 1014 to after 1014. I really, really, really think that one of the considerations is to get it done, and let's see where we are. Let's make a good effort, because we're not going to be able to disperse those checks until those schools have done all of their reporting. So those are the features. So I will discuss that with management. At this point, we're going to keep it 1014. And if that changes, we'll notify the schools. But let's make a good faith effort to get the reports in.
We have several more questions and several hands raised, so we're going to try to get all these questions answered in the next 10 minutes. Sharon and a couple others ask, we only report grades for which we have boost students, correct? I think Sharon's referring to the assessment piece.
Okay, so that is a referral to the assessment piece, and no. No. My understanding, it's for the grades that you have. That is my understanding. I can get back. Sorry, I don't have the clarity, but each year for the students' grades 3 through 8. So I'm not exactly sure what that answer is, to be honest with you. So I'm going to have to get back with you on that. My first reaction is you have to do the grades that are there, and it doesn't matter if you don't have a boost student in that grade. But I will seek confirmation on that.
We're going to gather all of the questions we've answered today and answers, the questions and answers, so FAQ document, and we'll put that on the Boost website in the next day or two. So if we haven't answered your question during this meeting today, then we will get an answer for you. Adina asked, how do we get our password for the reporting? I think you were talking about logging in.
Yes, yes. It is the same password that you had before. You can contact us. We're going to try to have that exact password in the email that you receive. We've got a couple of technical difficulties this year. Normally, it's not a problem to provide it. But normally your password is your school official's password, unless it was someone else, but it's usually the school official's password. But we can always available to provide you with that exact information. And we will try to have that in the same email that we have the link that we're providing to you.
Let me see. Jim has responded to Brad Chamberlain's question. He asked, what's the actual website to access the reporting portal? I can't find it on the Boost website. And Jim responded and said, you'll be sent a link. Okay. Do we report assessments for all grades or only the grade? Oh, we just said, we'll get back to you on that. Are we using?
No, this one is a little bit different. Catherine Tomashek.
Yes.
Her question is, do we have to report enrollment confirmation for all grades or for only the grade in which the boost student is enrolled? So on this question,
you and I are looking at two different questions. So
oh,
I think
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You answer that one.
Okay. So Catherine, the enrollment confirmation, when a school goes in there, it is only going to list the boost students. Okay, so if you have a boost student that has been offered an award in grade 4, then it will be there. So you will only be doing the enrollment confirmations for the students that have been awarded a boost scholarship.
Brian Raswell, we were just talking about extending the deadline, and he commented here, I know the reports would hold up the check process and the payment process. I assume it was just the October 11th enrollment. So if I'm wrong, disregard the statement. Don't want to hold up the checks to schools. Just wanted to record that in the meeting, that is a factor that we're considering, and that schools and families that are approved need their funds. Andrea Williams asks, are we using assessment data from this current 2022-23 year, or are we using 21-22 year data? We just took beginning of the year assessments. I'm not sure if we've met at the start of the year.
Oh, I'm sorry. So this is requesting assessments for the 21-22 school year.
Yeah.
Does that
Connie?
answer
Yes.
the question?
Yeah, Valerie, I think it does.
Okay.
Connie Staub asks, is there a place on the enrollment report for a student to show that the awarded boost scholarship exceeds the tuition cost?
Well, this is what we do after we get all of your enrollment confirmation responses. Then Jim Clark works very hard, and we download that data and we look for just that. So that's part of what we do. Okay, so answer the questions as accurately as you can, and then we determine if a check will be cut. In that case, if that is the case, then the student will get a partial award, or none at all, depending upon what the family's contribution is and what needs to be paid. So that's part of what we do. That part you don't have to worry about.
Okay, it looks like we've addressed all the questions in the chat. Looks like we have like 7 minutes left. Please unmute yourself or raise your hand if you have, oh, never mind. There is an open queue. Stanley Stigton, you have your hand raised. Can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, I do not mean to have my hand raised, so I'm going to
Oh,
unraise
okay.
it.
Okay. Okay, so Yisrael Allen, can you pose your question? Or do you have your hand raised by accident too?
No, I have my hand raised on purpose. First, I want to say thank you very much, Valerie. Your information session has been extremely valuable. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, in terms of these assessments, are these assessments being taken online through a portal? Are we printing them out? What does the assessment itself look like?
Okay, so actually, the assessment that you were administered, correct? Are you asking about the assessments that were administered, that you administered to your students? Or are you asking about the reporting of the assessment?
Okay, so maybe I'm asking about both. My understanding was that an assessment has to be administered.
Mhm.
A-
So we've got,
am I correct?
yes. So, I don't know what school you're from, but there are two aspects from it. What we're doing now is we are obtaining the assessment results based on the assessments that your school administered during last year, which would have been the 21-22 school year, right?
Okay, so
And
we were not eligible for this program last year. This will be our first year being partnering with this
okay.
program.
So on that report, we can talk, but you will go in, you will initiate online, and I can walk you through that, because that's an unusual situation, because you didn't participate last year.
No.
And it also, your school did not administer last year.
Right.
What's important now is that you know what are the approved tests for administering for this school year.
Good. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying
So,
that. I understand a lot better now.
okay. So again, give us a call and we'll go through that, because I have not tested the system for someone who didn't test the year before. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right information. Okay?
Okay, thanks a million.
Sure.
So there's 2 hands raised. Can you pose your question, please?
I see Chantel Early.
Hi, I put a question in the chat, but it wasn't addressed. We have a
Okay.
new director of scholarship and financial aid. How do we acquire the sign-in for the portal? We're not sure who had it or who was the owner of that before, but we need to acquire that so that we can do the necessary
Right,
things
right.
as soon as possible.
Okay, contact us, boost.msde@maryland.gov, or give us a call, 410-767-0444, and we'll hook you up. Okay?
All right, thank you. And I also see James asked for the information in the chat. I'll send that to him as well. Thank you.
Okay.
So
Sharon?
Chantal James is he's one of the program managers here, so he's capturing your question and bumping it up for us. All the email and phone number that Valerie just stated, I pasted it for you in the chat, so you have it recorded.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Sharon, you
Hi,
raised your hand.
I did. First, I wanted to say, Valerie, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know how much this means to all of our schools to have this opportunity to participate in this program for so many of our students, and I know that it's a big job. So I wanted to thank you first for that, and everybody who's involved. I did have a quick question. The preliminary reports this year did not show waitlisted students. So my first question would be, will there be a secondary list sent to the schools, or would that just be part of the process where you confirm enrollment?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Sharon. That is an excellent question. Okay, so the original preliminary list, and remember, that's a preliminary list of students that were awarded a Boost Scholarship, okay? We received 10 million this year. We had so many eligible students, and there was not enough to offer everyone that was eligible a scholarship. So we were able to offer offer a scholarship to all of our renewals. So if a student is a renewal and they were eligible, income eligible again, then they definitely were awarded a scholarship. And so the preliminary list that was sent to schools was the renewals. It also included a couple of other categories because we rank by the income level. And so we had a wait list. And we have this part of the accept deny process. We were able to identify some more funds that could be used because enough families declined. So we will be able to offer wait list. We called it wait list, I think on September 8th is when we identified. So we did go down that wait list and offer some more students. We did not provide that list to the schools. We've been trying to do so much and we just couldn't do that. And we're hoping that when we go through this enrollment confirmation process, that there may be some more. So we may be able to offer some additional students that are on the wait list. And as I said before, it's a ranked list, and to see if we can go down and offer some more students. But we have not provided the schools with the list. We are concentrating on trying to make sure we get these checks to you guys October 30th. And all of our energies is in that direction. So thank you for the question, because I wanted it to be clear in regard to that there is a wait list.
Okay, thank you so much. And so schools should not be alarmed if their preliminary list does not necessarily match what they see in the portal for enrollment. Okay. Is that correct?
Right. Don't be alarmed. There could be changes. There could be additional students in the enrollment confirmation, and it was a student that wasn't in the preliminary list. Okay. And if a student declined and we found out about it in enough time, that's, you know, the student declined and then obviously it's not attending your school.
Got it.
So-
Okay. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you
You're
very much.
Uh-huh.
We have one more question from Garrett O'Day. First, thank you so much to MSD staff for all the hard work. Thank you all so much for those kudos. My question or comment is, since the new law on what needs to be in the assurances page went into effect on July 1, is there a way that we could get a little leeway or deadline flexibility for schools who are unaware of it or need to adjust according to the law?
We don't have anyone here from the Office of the Attorney General, and that would
Valerie,
definitely.
I'm here.
Oh, Brett.
Hi.
Thank you.
Sorry for coming late.
Oh, did you hear the question, Brett?
I did. So, thanks. And thanks for the question. The law is pretty specific, and it was passed by the legislature, and it doesn't give any leeway, but I don't know if there's issues, maybe a specific issue, maybe we can talk about it. I'd ask that you reach out to Valerie, and then the Attorney General's office will review the question with Valerie.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other?
We're a few minutes. We anticipated ending at 2. We're a couple minutes over, but I think we've gotten through a lot of questions. If you have any additional questions, please send an email to the Boost email address. It's a couple places in our chat. Again, this recording will be posted. Valerie, thank you. You're so wonderful. Thank you so much for presenting this and so clearly. And I think that's it. I think we've addressed all the questions.
Yeah, and look for that frequently asked questions on our website, because there were a couple of questions that I didn't answer, wasn't able to answer, and they will be provided there. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for participating in the Boost program.